So, hello, my friend, once again to the Randomizer YouTube channel. Today, the topic which I have picked it is artificial intelligence. Yes, artificial intelligence, the next big thing in the world, which has already started happening. But we'll see today how many changes are happening in the world with the help of artificial intelligence. I picked really nice video today, which is from Forbes. Let's see what they have mentioned. They made really nice video. I would suggest you and request you guys to please go and subscribe to the channel, my channel as well, for sure. Right, so without wasting any more time, let's see how that goes. I'll give my reaction once we'll finish the video. Right, let's get it started.
Generative AI is, in a sense, the second wave of transformative AI that we've experienced over the past few decades. And that first wave was really around ranking systems. And so you're thinking here about Google's search, Facebook, YouTube's recommendations, TikTok. All of this is around choosing sort of the ranking of information that was already created by people. And this seems like a small thing. It's just ranking a set of items. But when you're ranking everything that humanity has created, that actually affects the incentives of politicians, of entertainers, of journalists. You're now restructuring society just by that simple act of ranking, because you're ranking for billions of people every day, all the time. The second wave is where we go beyond ranking to actually generating that content. This second wave of transformative artificial intelligence, we don't know fully what those implications are going to be. The whole way in which we make information and the basis of communication across society, like that, is all going to be rewired.
True. Really nice what the sound future of artificial intelligence.
At its simplest, generative AI refers to an AI tool that is generating or creating content that could be text, audio, or video. You're taking a really large data set and you're inputting a prompt, and then you're outputting something completely new that is learning from all that info and creating something to answer the prompt. We've covered AI for some time at Forbes, but on November 30th, when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, its tool that allows you to ask for a recipe or a sonnet in the form of Shakespeare, or a script in the form of, Alex as movie star, which my boss did. He also asked it to write an annual performance review for me, which I did not appreciate. When we saw everyone playing with these tools, we thought, okay, AI is really breaking into the mainstream here. It's not just something that the tech bubble cares about. And it's time to ask questions about who's really going to make money here, how real is this hype, and what will be the business impact?
Yeah, you can put anything.
OpenAI is a really interesting company. It actually started as a nonprofit. It was backed by Sam Altman, who used to run Y Combinator, as well as the billionaires Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. And it was formed with the idea of creating an artificial general intelligence. This is a real kind of sci-fi AI, one that is conscious, self-learning, that could theoretically rethink capitalism, as Sam Altman has said, or could potentially outstrip human control. Building that AGI was something that OpenAI could not do as a nonprofit. It couldn't raise enough money to do this, so it needed to create a for-profit entity. OpenAI does that in 2019, and that's when Sam Altman becomes CEO full-time. And not long after, we've seen the company become a key ally to Microsoft, which has reportedly invested $10 billion recently at a $29 billion valuation.
Goodness, $29 billion.
This current wave that we're seeing, this generative AI wave, has been kind of building up for the last couple months now, really hitting an inflection point probably summer of 2022. We were slowly seeing these different companies starting to tease out, new releases, like OpenAI launching DALL-E 2 in beta, and then Stability AI announced Stable Diffusion, this text-to-image generation model. I think really it was the culmination of all these different models that reached a viral moment, really got to the masses. I would characterize the consensus as cautiously optimistic, I think there's not so much pessimism around AI as a technology anymore. I think more than optimism, it's kind of gotten to a point where people are accepting that this is an inevitability. Now, what do we do with this inevitability? Different folks have different levels of bullishness on where this technology can take us or what the potential harms and risks of it are. But for the most part, people seem to be optimistic that we still have time. It's still kind of in our hands to kind of control the destiny that this new AI paradigm shift brings.
I think the way to look at this is if Steve Jobs said that, the phone was a bicycle for the mind, this technology is really a rocket ship for the mind. The most exciting application, I think, of this generative AI is with what we're building, allowing humans to communicate visually. So you can take what's in your mind and create it almost instantly, whereas before it would have taken days or months even for skilled individuals to do that, be it art or PowerPoint or whatever else. I think we've also seen the impact of this also emerge in other sectors such as education, where students are now using it to help with their homework structuring or writing. And I think we'll see it across everything, whereby again, anything you can imagine, you'll be able to create now. Stability, our differential is that we are open source, so we release our models, so there's an amazing community that's built around it. If you look at popularity on the code base, it's outstripped things like Bitcoin and Ethereum in a few months, what took them 10 years. The types of applications that we're seeing are largely around basic creativity at the moment, but now they are extending into combining these things to create video game assets, to create artwork of various types, to create new textures and things like that, to extend the capabilities of creators and to make more people creators.
I think where it goes from here, I think we'll see more and more business workflow use cases. Definitely expect to see these big tech companies like Microsoft and Google that are building some of these models and kind of working with companies like OpenAI on these models to start integrating them more deeply into some of the existing software we know. So for example, we could expect to see generative AI use cases in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Outlook, Google Docs, stuff like that. I think one of the open questions remains, are we going to see like an entirely new wave of AI native applications kind of become a whole new generation of software tools that people use? Or will it be kind of the existing options that are able to integrate this AI faster and stay ahead of the curve? For example, Adobe putting this AI into Photoshop versus an entirely new like AI powered photo editor coming about.
Speaking to Bill Gates about AI, I was honestly a little surprised just how
I'll just take
excited
a
he
pause
was.
here. So just wanted to say something on this one. I'm also looking for a nice video editor kind of a tool. If you guys know anything like that, which can help me to make my videos more attractive, and which can give more life to the videos that I'm making, do let me know in the comment section, please. It would be helpful. Thank you.
Asked him, how does this compare to previous technological cycles like the rise of the PC or the PC with graphics interfaces that allow us to play games and do a lot more graphically inclined things on computers, or even the internet itself. And Bill said that he thinks this is one of the 4 big technological changes of his lifetime. And he said that he thinks AI will deservedly be the hottest topic of this year. Overall, I would say Bill Gates was optimistic about the impact that these AI tools could have, particularly in the developing world where he spends a lot of his thoughts with his foundation. He was thinking about how in Africa, some people may not have access to human doctors. You can do a lot as a foundation to try to get doctors to that place or train new doctors. But an AI tool that could answer some basic medical questions could fill a need without challenging doctors' professions. Similarly, he was thinking in lower income neighborhoods here at home in the US. There might be some math tutoring or basic homework support or teaching support that a tool like this could use for students who don't have access to human tutors or don't have a lot of time with a teacher.
So with AI, you can do existing use cases better than before, right? So you can improve search, for example. You can improve moderation in social networks. You can improve communication by adding virtual backgrounds, for example, to this video. You can also create completely new use cases that were just not possible before, right? You can generate image from text. You can generate 3D from text. You can recognize voice and translate that. You can create better conversational AI. So it really opens up a new range of possibilities. The same way the previous generation of technology created the ability for machines to calculate better or to retrieve information better with search engine. there's a whole range of new use cases that weren't possible before that are now made
I
possible
like
by
this
machine learning.
image behind him.
The hype that we're seeing now is just a catch up on the previous wave of usage. This is very different, for example, than crypto, where you had a lot of hype but very little usage. I think it's quite sustainable. And as we see more use cases, more usage, more companies investing on the topic in 2023, hopefully it's going to become more and more of a mainstream topic and more central topic. What we want is for everyone to understand AI, understand what it can do, what it can't do, some of the challenges associated with it. For example, biases are a big challenge for AI systems today. We want everyone to, understand that so that they can, help us mitigate some of the risk and make sure it doesn't create more challenges.
So there are a number of issues that fall into different categories that still need to be resolved with this AI. As flashy and exciting as some of this new technology
It is super
it's still
exciting to
prone
me.
to errors and mistakes.
Let me know
AI
yours.
practitioners call it like hallucination, where you might ask OpenAI's ChatGPT a basic math problem and it will very confidently give you an answer, but it turns out the answer is completely wrong. That
Super
could,
easy to
in a
calculate.
business capacity, hurt a business if they're kind of using inaccurate information, taking it at face value. Beyond that, there are kind of more deeper ethical concerns that have not been addressed. One of them being the copyright and IP around this new AI. The way that this generative AI is possible is these companies have trained their AI models on just massive quantities of data, and a lot of that data is pulled from the internet, So take an example like Stable Diffusion, which is trained on millions and millions and millions of images around the internet.
Stability AI, which is one of the companies that we write about in our coverage and is behind Stable Diffusion, they've been sued recently by Getty Images, which is alleging that they used millions of Getty's photos to allegedly train the models without paying Getty a dime for their work. There's also a lawsuit going on against OpenAI, Microsoft, and GitHub, which is owned by Microsoft, from programmers who believe that the code that you can get, which is usable, it's not perfect, but it can actually save time for some programmers today, that code comes from programmers who similarly were not compensated for their work.
Amazing.
The rate of change that I expect that we're going to be seeing over the next few years makes me concerned that we are not going to be ready for what's coming next. And yes, we're better at the issues from 10 years ago, but we still haven't even solved the problems that have been caused by the old transformation where ranking systems sort of reshaped our society. Right now, there's two main sort of camps within the tech world in terms of how we're going to govern this technology. And one is we're just going to give everyone the power as an individual to do whatever they want with it. And the other is that the tech companies themselves will decide what you can do. And both of those don't seem really great. Like, yes, it's nice for us to have individual power, but if everyone has the power to mess with democracy, if everyone has the power to harass others, to extort others, to generate scams quickly on demand, like that maybe isn't really good for the world. There's a question of what else is there, right? And that is what democracy tries to do. It's can we take that question of how this technology should impact society and bring it to a process where those decisions are being really considered in terms of their impacts. But the challenge is that our current democratic systems are frankly too slow, and the AI advances are both incredibly quick and they're global.
Yeah, it can reach anywhere.
One of the most terrifying and in many ways exciting applications of generative AI is to copy your voices. That's incredibly useful for translating across languages.
Correct.
So you can have you just speaking in any language and it really sounds like you. But the downside there is someone can use that same technology to just copy your voice saying anything they want. We had companies in the space that were really responsible, as well as one could be, and they had a lot of safeguards to make it so that it was really hard to copy someone's voice without their consent. But that all changed very recently when a number of companies just came out without doing that. It's sort of like you're lowering the bar for responsibility because these new entrants are coming in because it's cheaper to not build in that extra tech, and it makes it easier to use. And so we can't live in a world where people keep undercutting those responsibility practices. There is real risk that we are moving toward a world where people just don't have any sense of what is real. And they just sort of give up on that. And we've already seen that, obviously, in many parts of the world, the sort of what I've been calling reality apathy. That is not the ingredient that we need if we want to have functional society, functional democracy. Like, society is built on trust. Economics is built on trust. Politics is built on trust. And we get into a really dark place when we don't know what we can believe.
We don't know where the world is going.
I think it's
and where
very
it will
difficult
end.
to see where this AI will not impact anywhere that a human and a computer interface, from better chatbots to the whole of the media industry changing to create faster, better output, and even areas like education and healthcare, augmenting human potential in these areas. It's hard keeping up to date with what generative AI looks like next week, let alone 1 year or 5 years, but I think in the next few years we're going to see video, we're going to see audio, 3D, the ability to really create any world you can imagine. And I think that will be amazing. I think we'll see it in areas like education, healthcare, and others, really helping and enhancing our ability to aid people. And I think that's going to be great to see because it can integrate into existing systems, unlike other things like maybe the metaverse or Web3 that always created their own systems and there was never really immediate value for.
I agree.
A couple things that have shocked me about AI as I've gotten to know this space. One is that I feel like we're not all as unique as we think we are. These tools are pretty good at predicting what an email to reject a PR pitch looks like. Or right back at me, the kind of way to send a PR pitch to someone like Alex the reporter. That kind of communication is actually pretty well predicted. And so I think that we're going to see these AI tools, being useful there much earlier than I would have guessed.
Right.
Sam Altman declined to be photographed for our Forbes story. We did photograph Greg Brockman and a couple other leading entrepreneurs in this space. But for Sam, we thought it would be really fitting to use his own tools to generate an image of himself. So we put into a prompt in OpenAI's image generating tool called DALL-E that said, Sam Altman on the cover of Forbes. We got some weird ones back, including a cover of sort of a blurry-faced, uncanny valley,
looks like
Sam
mixture of two
Altman-like
people
person
together.
holding a cover
My goodness.
of a magazine like Forbes with the same image of blurry Sam Altman.
Yeah.
We've already seen some media companies starting to explore how to use these AI tools themselves. Some elegantly, some actually getting in trouble for publishing stories written by an AI tool and not disclosing it right away. I think this is a debate that's going to happen across the media landscape.
Like
For someone like me,
something.
I'm actually not concerned. I do believe that just like using an iPhone or a transcription tool or other pieces of technology in my job, I'll be using AI to do my work better. If the AI can replace my work, then I don't think I'm doing a good job.
True.
I think our sense talking to these founders, these investors, is that a lot of the coolest applications that are going to come out of this, AI wave haven't even been invented yet, maybe haven't even been imagined yet. That said, it seems like for the most part, starting out, where this AI is going to be applied is in some of the more boring places, some of the more busy workplaces. How do we integrate this AI into our basic business workflow? So I think you're starting to see kind of consumer behaviors change. Students, for example, are already kind of using ChatGPT to generate essays for them. Some artists are using models like Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, or OpenAI's DALL-E to help them create works of art.
I have not gone through this.
I think because machine learning is such a different paradigm as typical software, there's going to be like a flock, like a wave of AI, ML native startups that are going to do things, build products 100 times better than the incumbents who have not been able to build machine learning the same way. So this is very exciting because I think we really have the opportunity to change the paradigm completely and make emerge a whole group of newcomers and new companies that are going to be able to do things differently.
What we can do is you can use sort of new forms of democratic processes, and this is what I've been calling sort of platform democracy or AI democracy, to ask a sort of representative selection of the global population. Like, how should this technology be used? How should it be deployed? It sounds crazy to say this, but there already are pilots of this sort of global process. And the reason why you need it to be global is because this technology affects everyone. It creates legitimacy. It makes it really, really hard for companies to then be like, oh, we're democratizing this technology, when really what they mean is we're giving everyone the ability to just like mess with everything. That isn't what a democratic process, that isn't what considered deliberation would have led to if you had the people who are being impacted by that technology in the room. We need our AI systems to not just be optimizing for engagement, as we've seen with things like Facebook and TikTok and YouTube, but for the sort of the human values that actually support society and support democracy. And a big part of that is sort of not optimizing for division, which is what comes naturally out of those algorithms in many cases. And so a lot of my work recently has been around how can we instead optimize for bridging divides, making conflict productive as opposed to destructive. So that, I think that is absolutely core to bake in from the beginning, because we've seen what happens to society when systems that billions of people are using every day are really optimizing for division, and it isn't pretty.
Great. So here is the end of Forbes YouTube video on AI. I really liked ChatGPT, guys. I myself are using in my daily life. It really helps. But what I would request, especially to the students, do your own research when you try to work on something on your assignment, presentation, or things like that before you go and check these kind of tools. Otherwise, the learning process will get squeezed. That is what my understanding will be. These are really good ones, when it comes to having difficulties in finding something. But these are really nice tools, I would say, which is going to change the world for sure. Especially, as I said, ChatGPT is one of my favorite these days. I'm also using it. I used another one, which is Tome AI tool. That is also very helpful. Try and check it if you want. I can share the link in the description here in my video, and you can check it there. These are also really nice tools that you can have it. And yep, this is it. I really loved it. Thank you so much, Forbes, for providing such an informative video. And credit goes to them that they have made it. I just gave my first impression on what I think about it. This is really nice video that they have made. Thank you very much, guys. Um, See you. And I'll come very, very soon on the next randomizer video on another technological advancement video which may help you guys in your daily lives. Thank you once again, and keep subscribing my channel. Thanks. Bye bye.